Hello, everybody. In this video, I'm going to go through lesson 0.02, which is the order of operations. There we go. 0.02, order of operations. So, order of operations is used to simplify expressions. This is how to simplify expressions. And our order of operations, y'all are often very familiar with PEMDAS. So P, E, M/D, and A/S. So let's start by talking about the P. P stands for parentheses, which really just means methods of grouping. So whether it's parentheses, brackets, curly braces, sometimes fractions where you have numerators and denominators. Those are methods of grouping. You will always want to look at and simplify, clean up the inside of your parentheses first. Next, I didn't like that. Next is E for exponents. Example of exponents, 3 squared. The 2, the exponent means I'm going to multiply the base 3 2 times. So 3 times 3, which equals 9. So 3 squared is 9. It is not 3 times 2, which is 6. You don't just multiply the base and the exponent together. After parentheses is multiplication division, and this is in order from left to right. Left to right. Multiplication and division. So it is not the case that you always do multiplication before division. If we have the problem 10 divided by 2 times 3, we wouldn't want to start with 10 times 3 first because of the multiplication. 10 times 3 is 6. And what's 10 divided by 6? Right? That gets a little bit messy. We always want to treat this from left to right. So I would first begin by doing 10 divided by 2, and 10 divided by 2 gives me 5, and 5 times 3 gives me 15. All right, lastly, we have addition and subtraction. And addition, subtraction, just like multiplication, division, it's easiest to go left to right. So this is addition and subtraction. I will say though, with addition and subtraction, you don't have to always go left to right just because addition and subtraction, you can flip the order. That is a property of addition and subtraction that multiplication and division does not have. All right, so let's look at some examples. Number 1, I am going to simplify 9 minus 2 times 2 plus 6 times 4 squared. Looking at this problem, I see there's a lot going on. We want to simplify this, and I see lots of operations, so I'm going to use the order of operations, PEMDAS, P-E, M/D, and then A/S. So beginning with parentheses, I don't see any, so we don't have to do that. Next is exponents. So I'm going to evaluate any exponents that we have, and I see we do have 4 squared. Now 4 squared is the same thing as 4 times 4, which is 16. So this is 16. I'm going to rewrite the problem exactly as it is, except now the 4 squared is 16. So 9 minus 2 times 2 plus 6 times 16 instead of 4 squared. Okay, exponents are done. Next, I'm going to look for multiplication and division, and I want to do this from left to right. So starting on the left-hand side, going to the right, I'm going to begin by multiplying 2 times 2. Yes, you could multiply negative 2 times 2, but once you do that, then you kind of need to pay attention to what the sign is. So I'm just going to multiply 2 times 2, which gives me 4. And I'm going to fill in the rest. So it is 9 minus 4 plus 6 times 16. Now, I could do this multiplication here in the same step. It's up to you. So we are going to multiply 6 times 16 now, working from left to right. And if I put 6 times 16 into my calculator, I get 96. So I have 9 minus 4 plus 96. And finally, we can just add and subtract from left to right. 9 minus 4 is 5 plus 96. 5 plus 96 is 101. All right. So there we use the order of operations to simplify that expression. Number 2, what is the value of 2 cubed plus 32 divided by 3 plus 5? So to simplify this, I have a fraction, which, yes, this is division, but we kind of need to look at this as 2 groups, right? The numerator and the denominator. So if I apply my order of operations, the first thing I'm going to want to do is clean up the top and then clean up the bottom of this fraction. So I'm going to kind of create a little bit of scratch space over here, and we're going to start by simplifying 2 cubed plus 32. Now to simplify this, the order of operations tells me that I need to use my exponents or evaluate my exponents first, and 2 cubed is the same thing as 2 multiplied 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8, and then we will add 8 plus 32. So this gives us that our numerator is 40. 8 plus 32 gives us 40. And now I can look at our denominator, and hopefully we all recognize that 3 plus 5 gives us 8. And lastly, we can simplify this fraction. 40 over 8 is the same thing as 40 divided by 8. Let's see, let me just switch colors this way. Which equals 5. All right. Let's look at a slightly different problem now. What is the value of the expression when b is equal to -6? And our expression is 2b plus 7. So if you are told an expression, our expression is 2b plus 7, and we know b is equal to -6, anywhere in my expression where I see b, I can replace that with -6. So in my expression, I will have 2 and then my -6, but it's 2 times b. So I'm going to have 2 times -6 plus 7. In the order of operations, I notice I have multiplication and addition here. Multiplication comes first. So I'm going to begin by multiplying. 2 times -6 is -12 plus 7. And negative 12 plus 7, that's really the same thing as 7 minus 12, whatever way you want to look at it. It is going to give you negative 5. So if we let b equal a different number, if b is equal to 0, for example, then the expression is going to have a different value. All right, one more example. What is the value of the expression if y equals 8? And our expression is 3y squared minus 4y plus 10. One way you can also do this, one way I like to do this, is I know that I have this value of y that I'm going to substitute in everywhere I see y. I can go ahead and set myself up and kind of create this skeleton where I'm going to place in that value of y, where I'm going to substitute in that value of 8. So I have 3 times y squared. So where I see y, I'm going to put this set of parentheses, and that set of parentheses is squared, minus 4 times y. So where I see y, I'm going to put another set of parentheses plus 10. Now I have these little homes almost for y is equal to 8 to be substituted into. So in these parentheses, I'm going to substitute in 8. And now I can use my order of operations. And remember, in the order of operations, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, parentheses does come first, but look, inside our parentheses, we just have one number. So there's nothing to do inside the parentheses. There's no operations to actually simplify. So next, we're going to look at our exponents. And it is not 3 squared, 8 squared. It is just 3 times 8 squared. So I'm only going to square the 8, which is the same thing as 8 times 8, which is equal to 64. So we really have 3 times 64 minus 4 times 8 plus 10. So we did our exponents. Next, we have multiplication, and I see this actually in 2 different places. So I'm going to do this kind of twice at once. So in my calculator, I can put 3 times 64, which gives me 192. Also in my calculator, hopefully you don't need a calculator for this one. 4 times 8 gives me 32. And then I'll just fill in the rest of the pieces. So we have this minus sign in between those 2 products. 192 minus 32 plus 10. And then we just add or subtract from left to right. So we'll begin by subtracting 192 minus 32. And 192 minus 32 is the same thing as 160. And 160 plus 10 is equal to 170. Please let me know what questions you have, and I look forward to seeing you in class.